Monkeypox, a rare viral zoonosis. By zoonosis, I mean diseases transferred from animals to human beings. Now, this is a rare viral zoonosis that has been trending in the news. You've been hearing of monkeypox here, monkeypox there, and a lot of people have been panicking about it. Now, how well informed are the people about this? What has the media been saying about monkeypox amidst all of these fears? What is the way forward? That will be our focus on the media review segment of Insight. I'm Eunice Johnson, and my guest is Jamil Afegbua. He is the General Manager, Core TV News. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, basically, monkeypox has been the trending, amidst all other health issues. We've been hearing of monkeypox, and sometimes you just tune into the TV and you see the flashes of those images with rough skins and all of that. Now, how fair has information management been when it comes to monkeypox and then the media, of course?
Well, like every other disease, it comes and it goes. Ebola came, there was so much noise about it, and after a while, it went off, due to some, areas of containment and all that the government had to go through, and government was praised for it. Now, we have monkeypox now, and don't forget that besides monkeypox, there are other diseases like measles is still going on, and the inoculation is going on all over the country for measles plants out there. But monkeypox is one disease like Ebola that has caused a lot of scare, in the health sector everywhere, because it's something that was not expected, and it just came like that. But as far as the media reportage is concerned about monkeypox, I would say that we have not done very well in not just educating the people in the campaigns to help stem the spread. Like I always tell people, it's not just when it happens that we report it. Most media reportages are centered around, the minister saying something about it, then they have a press conference, they talk about it, or the papers carried it, the minister said. All that you go and, okay, so you want to do something outside the minister, you go and do maybe a special report with a doctor who knows about monkeypox, and that's it. I always say that we need to do more as a media, Nigerian media. We need to do more to ensure that the people out there know what these things are. We already know that there's monkeypox. We already have been told how the effects are, and we already have been told some preventive measures. But how many times have the media come out to actually say on a daily basis, do this to prevent it, do this to prevent it, do this to prevent it? It's not much. So this instant coffee thing that we always do is not enough to prevent diseases when they come.
Okay, speaking of the instant curfew thing, which has over the time become more or less like a trend. It is until somebody said something about it, they consider it worth reporting. What do you think is responsible for this? Would you say some surrounding factors have kept them on the backside? What exactly would you say is responsible?
If you're asking me that question, you'll be asking me to, lash my own organization or the sector that I belong to. Well, I would just give them a little slap on the back. The media in this country has not really gone ahead of what it's supposed to be in this century or in these years that we are right now. If you look at CNN, BBC, and other stations around the world, you know that the logistics to cover those things are there. You, for instance, you're talking about monkeypox. Monkeypox started from where? It started from Bayelsa, or it was discovered in Bayelsa.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yes. Have you been to Bayelsa since it came out? You've not been there?
I'm afraid not.
No, well, you may be afraid to go there, but we need to go there and actually see how it started, the environment that the people where it started from who lived there, how it was, and then how it began to spread. All we're sitting there in Abuja or in Lagos are doing is just going for, like I said, press conferences and doing interviews with doctors. Some of these doctors don't even know much, physically. They read it in the papers, but they don't know much. You understand? So we need logistics to encourage our reporters, you know, TV stations, radio stations, newspapers. We need those logistics to encourage our people to actually go out there and say, look, go and dig in. Go
Yeah,
and dig in.
more of.
Yes.
Okay, but speaking of digging in, you find out that, well, yes, it is said that as a journalist you should know something about everything and everything about something, but these are things that just come up suddenly. It's more or less like an epidemic, just like Ebola. A lot of people didn't know of Ebola until it came up. Now you find out that you might not necessarily blame some journalists if they do not know the in-depth aspects of monkeypox. Are there forms of sensitization programs, maybe from the medical sector, to train journalists, educate them? Because it is only when you're well informed that you will be able to inform others.
Yes.
So are there sensitization programs for
There
journalists?
again, I'll say no. Like before we came on set, I was telling you something. I said the last time I had, I attended any form of sensitization program was during the bird flu era. When the USAID, took us, an international organization, took journalists to Plateau State, Jos in Plateau State, and had a 1-week sensitization workshop with them on how to contain bird flu and everything. Then it was the in thing then, bird flu. And now I don't see the ministry doing that with health correspondents. I don't see health organizations doing that with health correspondents or journalists totally. Just recently they had the NUJ week. I tried to listen out to see in all the programs whether there was a doctor invited or somebody from the ministry invited to tell. The majority is an NUJ program. So it's not just for health correspondents. It's now the entire NUJ and members of that NUJ to tell them this is how we should begin to do something about it. There was none. It was just about, training for women journalists, this is that. But those are fora that you can actually use to engage the journalists to go further than just reporting what is on ground.
Okay, now moving on to the area of follow-up, you find out that when certain things come up, you start to see precautionary measures on TV. For instance, when Ebola came up, you see people telling you, wash your hands regularly. The hand sanitizers were all over the place. And then also when that of Lassa fever came up, people start telling you to seal your food well, keep your environment safe, and all of that. Now, does it mean that all of these things are not regular? If you tell me to sanitize my environment because Lassa fever is there, does it mean if there's no Lassa fever, I shouldn't bother about sanitizing my environment? So how would you rate the follow-up culture of the media generally, holistically?
Well, you see, I've always told anybody who cares to listen that rather than say cleanliness is next to godliness, we should say cleanliness is next to good health. Because if you keep your environment clean, definitely some kinds of diseases will not attack you. Now, I would blame, again, we in our sector for not doing enough to even educate the people more. Now, you are NTA and you have 24 hours in a day. And if you have slides teaching people some basic things in health issues, take a problem and then have a slide talking about that issue, prevention, causes, care, and all that. You can do a slide and run it for 1 minute. Just like the Bible says, faith cometh by hearing. Let me tell you something. What you see on a regular basis registers in your brain. So if the newspapers write it there on a daily basis, carve a small page for them in the front page, this is how this disease comes, this is how it affects people, these are the preventive measures you should take. TV stations, the same thing. Radio stations, the same thing. Look, people, I go into taxis, I see people hold their phones listening to radio. That means that people listen to radio.
Want to be informed, actually.
Yes. So if every time they're listening to a program on radio, a 1-hour program on radio, and at every 10 minutes, something like that comes up, it will register in their brains. Now, Ebola is gone. After that, nobody washes their hands again.
Exactly,
now,
which is the problem.
Monkeypox is here. The next thing, Everybody's washing their hands. What happened to the primary schools and the secondary schools that had, the sanitizers at the gate as the kids are coming in, they're washing their hands? After Ebola, all that left. Are we saying that there are no more diseases that you can pick up with your hands? No. But if you tell them consistently, the next thing now maybe they have lizard pox. And everybody will start running away from lizards because lizards are the ones carrying the pox or something now.
Yeah.
But we should have, it should serve as our corporate social responsibility. That's the media, to educate people more. I tell my staff most of the time, those of them who cover health, I say, look, if you want to have a health program, pick a disease in a week and dissect it. Next, pick a disease in a week and dissect it. You don't just gather news conferences and put in a program. Now, that is what the media is supposed to be doing. Newspapers, you have a page or just a
dedicated
to. Like, listen, if we're talking about elections coming up now, we start a countdown. In the front page of some newspapers, you see it, 50 days to go, 20 days to go, 10 days to go.
Just like when the Chibok girls...
Exactly. You
days.
understand? They've been 140 days now, 200 days now. You can also do that with health. It's very easy. You're not paying for it because it's yours. And you should look at that as your part of helping society, saving humanity.
But speaking of corporate social responsibility, it is assumed that the Nigerian media operates under the social responsibility theory. Now, how socially responsible would you say the Nigerian media has been, particularly in the area of health?
Well, I wouldn't say we've done much. Yeah, there's some radio stations, I don't want to call names, so their heads don't blow up. But there are some radio and TV stations that I have watched and, have done something in that direction, but it is not as regular as one would expect it to be. You understand? It should be, Bond should actually make it a point of reference in one of the terms in their, whatever it is, terms of reference that they have. To look, let us begin a corporate social responsibility. Let us have this thing coming on.
Take it upon themselves.
Yes, take it upon themselves. That's the broadcasting
Exactly.
organization of Nigeria. Take it upon themselves. This thing has to be on our terms of reference for all broadcasters.
Whoa. Honestly, it's been interesting speaking with you.
Thank you so
could go
much.
on and on. Thank you very
It's
much for
something I
coming.
do. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we've been talking about the media and the coverage of the monkeypox viral disease that's been going round, disease or whatever you would like to call it. It's been going on round and the media has been saying a lot about it. But how well has the media done in the coverage of the monkeypox? My guest has been Jamil Afegbua. He is the General Manager, Core TV News. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
I believe you were educated as much as I did. Eunice?
Yes, I was well informed as well. Sometimes in terms of sensitization, you find out that there's barely, there's a problem in that area. And so I guess that after watching today's episode, the media perhaps would look into the area of sensitization and making people more well aware of these issues as it relates to epidemics and so much more. That's it for this week's episode of Insight. Thank you very much for being part of it. We remain your regular host. Join us again same time next week. Bye for now.
Don't forget, Nigeria did it during Ebola, and we can still do it during monkeypox. On behalf of all of us, bye-bye.